The streets of Chicago are buzzing, and not just from the roar of Tommy Egan's classic ride. The official release date for Power Book 4, Season 3, Episode 1 is finally locked in, and fans are counting down the days like it's a holiday. But this isn't just another season premiere. This is the start of Tommy's most dangerous chapter yet. Every choice he's made so far has brought him here, to a city ready to explode, and the trailer proves it's about to get bloody. The quick flashes, the tense stares, the loaded silences, all signs that no one is safe. The wait is over, and the clock is ticking for everyone in Tommy's world. Season 3, Episode 1 drops on a date that feels perfectly calculated. It's set to hit screens just when viewers have been starving for more Power Universe action, filling the gap left by other series and pulling the spotlight right back to Chicago. The network clearly knows its audience, timing the launch to keep the hype machine in overdrive. Behind the scenes, filming wrapped months ago, but whispers from the set suggested that there were last-minute tweaks, maybe even reshoots, to make sure the season opener landed like a knockout punch. These aren't the kind of changes that slow a showdown, they're the kind that sharpen it, making every scene cut deeper. Cast members have been slyly fueling the hype without giving too much away. Social media posts from Joseph Sikora, who plays Tommy, have been nothing short of cryptic, short captions, shadowy set shots, and a smirk that says he knows something we don't. Other cast members have been hinting at the wildest episode yet, and considering the Force track record, that's saying a lot. Fans have been dissecting every word, every emoji, trying to figure out what it means. Was that fire emoji a clue to a literal explosion, or just a metaphor for how heated the story gets? Either way, it's working. The audience is restless. The build-up isn't just about the date or the trailer. It's about the feeling in the air. Tommy's story has always been about control, fighting to grab it, leading to keep it, and burning everything in his way to protect it. But now, with new enemies watching his every move and allies who could turn on him in an instant, Episode 1 feels like the moment the scales tip. Chicago isn't just a backdrop. It's a battlefield, and the premiere is the opening shot in a war Tommy might not win. The release date isn't just a calendar mark. It's the start of a storm. And when it hits, no one will be left standing in the same place they were before. Asterisk the trailer for Power Book 4, Season 3, Episode 1 doesn't just tease what's coming, it hides the story in plain sight. Every second is packed with layered details, quick cuts, and background moments that most viewers miss on the first watch. But when you slow it down, frame by frame, a pattern starts to emerge. It's like Tommy's entire next move is encoded in these blink and you miss it shots, and the more you look, the clearer it gets that the premiere will be explosive in ways nobody expects. One of the first standout moments is a shot of Tommy standing alone in a dark alley, his face half hidden in the shadows. At first glance, it feels like a typical Tommy scene, brooding, tense, ready for war. But in the background, barely visible, is a blurred figure slipping into a side door. The frame is too quick to give away a face, but the build and walk hint at someone from his past. This isn't a random extra. It feels like a deliberate nod to a returning character who's been off the radar. The fact that Tommy doesn't turn around tells us something important. Either he already knows they're there, or he's walking straight into a trap. The next clue comes in a quick street sequence. Tommy's signature blue Mustang tears through the Chicago streets, but the real secret is in the reflection on the car's side mirror. For just a split second, you can spot another vehicle tailing him, a black SUV with tinted windows. In the Power Universe, that's never a good sign. The angle of the shot makes it feel almost accidental, but nothing in this franchise is by accident. Whoever's in that SUV is going to be a problem, and the fact they're following Tommy before the episode even kicks off tells us the danger is immediate. Another blinking you miss it detail comes during what looks like a tense meeting. Tommy sits at a table with two men we haven't seen before. They're dressed in sharp suits, but their body language is all wrong, leaning back, hands hidden, eyes locked on Tommy like they're sizing him up. Behind them, a wall clock reads 3:17. It could just be set dressing. But hardcore Power fans know numbers often mean something. Could 317 be a date in the show's timeline? Or maybe a time that marks when a major event goes down? Little touches like this are the kind of Easter eggs that keep fans replaying the trailer. One of the most telling moments, though, is an overhead shot of Chicago at night. The skyline glows, but the camera lingers over a specific block in the south side. There's no dialogue, just a heavy beat and the distant sound of sirens. In that small block, if you freeze the frame, you can see flashing lights from a police raid. It's subtle, but it hints at a law enforcement storyline kicking in right from the start. And in Tommy's world, the cops are rarely just background noise. If episode 1 begins with a bust, it could mean one of two things. Someone close to Tommy is going down, or someone is feeding the police information. The last big clue in the trailer is pure emotion. In the final seconds, Tommy walks into a dimly lit room and stops dead in his tracks. His breathing changes, his jaw clenches, and for the first time in a long time he looks unsettled. The camera never shows what he's looking at, only the reaction. That deliberate choice screams that the reveal is too important to spoil, meaning whatever's in that room is going to shake Tommy to his core. Whether it's the return of someone he thought was gone or the discovery of a betrayal he never saw coming, this shot is the heartbeat of the trailer. Every single one of these details adds up to a bigger picture. Episode 1 isn't just about Tommy picking up where Season 2 left off. It's about him walking into a game where every piece has already been moved against him. The trailer may only give us seconds of these moments, but when you piece them together, it paints a dangerous roadmap for what's coming next. And if Tommy doesn't see these traps in time, Chicago might finally swallow him whole. Asterisk, some leaks hit the internet and fade away. But the ones surrounding Power Book 4, Force, Season 3, Episode 1 refuse to die down, mainly because they sound too possible to ignore. The biggest leak making the rounds is that Episode 1 will open with a violent power shift in Chicago's criminal landscape, and Tommy will be forced into a new alliance before he's even ready to make a move. Multiple so-called insider posts claim the first scene will show a key player from Season 2 being taken out in a sudden hit, setting off a chain reaction that pulls Tommy into a war he didn't start. What makes this leak so believable is how neatly it lines up with the trailer's fast cuts of sirens, tense alley shots, and that mysterious SUV tailing him, all signs that someone is already 2 steps ahead. Another widely discussed leak points to the return of a face Tommy and fans thought was gone for good. Online chatter suggests this character will resurface in a way that turns the game upside down, not as a friend, but as a direct rival. Set photos leaked earlier this year showed Joseph Sikora filming with an actor whose identity was kept under wraps, sparking endless speculation. Some say it's a ghost from his past in New York, while others believe it's a Chicago player he double-crossed without realizing the full consequences. If true, this twist could be one of the season's most dangerous curveballs, because Tommy's greatest threats have always been the ones who know his every move. There's also a leak about law enforcement turning up the heat like never before. Rumors say Episode 1 will introduce a high-ranking federal agent assigned solely to dismantle Tommy's operation. Unlike the usual street-level cops, this character is said to be methodical, patient, and not afraid to play dirty, the kind of lawman who can get inside a criminal's head. This aligns perfectly with the quick aerial shot of a Southside raid in the trailer, and could explain why Tommy looks so rattled in that final scene. If the feds have already made their move before he even knows they're on him, the stakes jump from street wars to full-blown survival, one of the more surprising theories gaining traction among fans is that Episode 1 will hint at Tommy being betrayed from within his own circle. A popular Reddit thread breaks down the idea that someone close to him, possibly a long-trusted ally, is quietly feeding information to his enemies. This theory leans heavily on trailer details like the background figure in the alley and the tense meeting with the 2 suited strangers. In Power, betrayal is rarely straightforward, and when it happens, it's almost always personal. If Episode 1 plants the seeds for this kind of turn, it could redefine every relationship Tommy has going forward. Fans aren't just stopping at leaks, they're building elaborate theories around them. Some believe the premiere will end with Tommy losing control of his territory entirely, forcing him to start from scratch by episode 2. Others think the mysterious room he enters at the trailer's end contains evidence that changes the entire direction of the season, perhaps a body, a hidden stash, or proof of a setup. A smaller but louder group of fans even suspects that the SUV following him is driven by someone connected to Ghost's past, tying Force back to the roots of the Power universe. In a way that blindsides everyone. As a drama writer looking at these leaks, it's clear why the buzz is so intense. They don't feel like random fan fiction, they feel calculated, like the kind of story seeds that the show's writers could have planted on purpose. Some may turn out to be deliberate misdirection to keep viewers guessing, but the most effective leaks are the ones that blend just enough truth with speculation. And right now, the conversation around Season 3 Episode 1 has that exact mix. If even half of these leaks are real, Tommy's first steps this season will put him on a collision course that could either make him the king of Chicago or leave him buried in it. Tommy Egan has always been a man who thrives in chaos, but Season 3 Episode 1 is shaping up to push him past even his own limits. This isn't the Tommy we met back in Power, or even the one we've seen clawing his way through Chicago in the first 2 seasons of Force. The Tommy we're about to see is stepping into a storm where every decision is a gamble, and one wrong move could cost him everything. His arc this season looks set to blend raw survival instinct with something far more personal, a struggle for identity in a city that refuses to let him own it. Episode 1 feels like the spark that will set his transformation in motion. Tommy's biggest challenge won't just be the enemies gunning for him, it will be the people standing next to him. His allies have always been as dangerous as his rivals, and this season's early moments hint at shifting loyalties. One of the most intriguing signs is the body language of Diamond in the few quick trailer shots we get. He's there, but his expression is guarded, his eyes almost calculating. If Diamond starts questioning Tommy's decisions, that could fracture the fragile trust they've built. Episode 1 might be the moment that sets their paths on a collision course. Even if they don't see it yet, on the other side of the chessboard, we have Claudia Flynn. The last we saw, her ambitions were stretching beyond the limits of what her family's empire could control. In the trailer, her brief appearance is loaded with subtext, a cool stare, a confident smirk, and a background that looks nothing like her usual territory. If she's branching out, it's possible Episode 1 will reveal her making moves that cut directly into Tommy's business. Their uneasy alliance from before could turn into open war, and knowing Claudia, she strike where it hurts the most. Then there's the wild card, new characters. The trailer gives us flashes of faces we've never seen, one in particular. A man with a scar running down his jaw, sitting across from Tommy in what looks like a tense negotiation. His presence alone suggests that Episode 1 will introduce players with enough weight to disrupt the entire power structure. If this man is tied to the SUV shadowing Tommy, it could mean we're dealing with an out-of-town crew moving in, or worse, someone with a personal score to settle. Either way, new blood in Chicago's underworld means fresh alliances and deadlier betrayals on an emotional level. Tommy's arc could take an unexpected turn if the trailer's final mysterious scene delivers the gut punch it promises. That moment, where Tommy stops cold, his face flickering between shock and anger, could be tied to a loss that cuts deeper than business. If it's a friend or a family connection in danger, Episode 1 could push Tommy into a more desperate and reckless state than we've ever seen. That's when he's at his most dangerous, but also at his most vulnerable, and the writers know how to exploit both sides of him. Secondary characters also have room to shine in Episode 1. JP's storyline, which has always blended personal stakes with the larger street game, could intersect with Tommy's in a way that forces both men into impossible choices. If JP gets pulled deeper into Tommy's operations, willingly or not, it could strain their family bond. Meanwhile, we can't ignore the possibility that Liliana's legacy still hangs over Tommy, even though she's gone. The ripples of her actions could still be shaping events in subtle ways. And Episode 1 might drop a reminder that her influence hasn't vanished. Ultimately, The character arcs in Episode 1 are about setting the board for the war to come. Tommy's leadership will be tested not by how many enemies he can take out, but by how well he can hold together the fragile network of people he's surrounded himself with. Every ally is a potential traitor, every rival a possible partner, and every choice a step toward either domination or destruction. In a city like Chicago, power is never permanent, and in Power Book 4, force, it's only ever borrowed until someone stronger comes to take it. Episode 1 looks ready to prove that to Tommy in the hardest way possible.